Hi there, everyone, and happy Memorial Day weekend. I came out here because I was thinking about all of the things that remind me that it's Memorial Day weekend. And some of those things are campfires and roasting marshmallows and barbecues with our friends. And it also reminds me that summer's beginning and that the school year is almost over. But as I thought about all of those things, it occurred to me that those really aren't what Memorial Day is really all about at all, is it? So, why don't I finish my marshmallow and you take a couple of minutes to think about what you think Memorial Day is all about, and then I'll eat up my marshmallow. Oh, it's on fire. I'll eat up my marshmallow and I'll meet you inside and we'll talk a little bit more, okay? See you in a minute. Okay, so I made it back inside. My marshmallow was delicious, and I hope you took a couple of minutes to talk with some people around you about the things that you think about when you think of Memorial Weekend. Now, let's back up a little bit and let's light our candle. And our candle reminds us all the time that Jesus is with us, even in dark places. The other thing that we always remember is that we're a blessing. We're a blessing by being together. We're a blessing by thinking about Jesus in the time that we have together. So, grab whoever you're with and give them a little bit of a squeeze. Tell them you love them and tell them that they are a blessing to you. So, as I was thinking about Memorial Day weekend, and once I got past thinking about bonfires and marshmallows and hot dogs and hamburgers, then I started thinking that Memorial Day has us thinking about our memories. And specifically, we're remembering things that happened a long time ago and people who were alive a long time ago. And those people and events and places are things that we want to remember so that we can learn from them. And when we try to remember things, it makes me think of our stories, because our stories are how we tie the basic ideas of people and places with meaning. So I thought we could look at some special stories. One of the stories that I have is this very special book called Grandmother Remembers. My grandmother wrote this many, many years ago, probably 15 or 20 years ago. And what she did is she had this book, and it is filled with information about our family. And there are pictures in here of like when my grandmother got married. And then she writes stories about what she remembers from those times. She also writes stories about our family from when I was really little, and I don't remember those things happening. So it's a way for her to add some meaning to times that I don't remember at all. I found another thing that's a pretty funny story if you ask me. I found it in my baby book. And it literally says, my story. And somebody had to write this for me because I was little enough that I could never have written it myself. Here's a little tiny picture of me as a little girl. And it says, I have one brother and two sisters and no pets. I like to make Kool-Aid, and I like hot dogs, and I like hamburgers. Now, that's really not that important of information to have, quite frankly. But one of the things that's neat about being able to have these things to look back on is that it helps me and it helps my kids remember that I was once a little girl, just like they were once little tiny people. And then sometimes it helps them remember that maybe some of the things that they think are hard in life or challenges that they're going through, there's a chance that I might have gone through those same things, and I might understand a little better than they think. That's why our stories are so important. Let me share one other really important storybook. It's the Bible. It's funny because sometimes people read the Bible and they think it's supposed to be like a history book. But it's really not a history book at all. It's a book of people's stories. It's stories that people for thousands of years, literally thousands of years, they thought that these stories were so important that long before people had printing presses or even paper, they started telling these stories to each other. And they passed them on from generation to generation. And the whole reason that they wanted to keep these stories alive was so that people could learn from them and so that people could hear what it was in their day and time that God wanted them to learn from these stories. So friends, this Memorial Day weekend is going to be different for many of us than most of our Memorial Day weekends. But you know what? We are living in a time where our stories are going to be super important and where we're going to want to look back on this time that we're living in, and we're going to want to think about it and make sense of it and learn from it, and then we are going to wonder, what does God want us to learn from these stories? So, in your PDF, in your newsletter, you can print off something that looks like this. And this says 2020 COVID-19 Coronavirus Journal. And I thought that today we would do a little bit of this together, and then you can finish it with your family. Now, some of us are really great at drawing pictures, and some of us are really great at writing things with words. Some of us might have crayons to color with, so I grabbed my box of crayons. Some of us might have markers. Some people might have colored pencils. There is no right or wrong way to do this because it's your very own journal. But I do really encourage you to sit with a family member and get down some of the things that you remember about this time so that a few years from now you can look back on it and you can learn from it. Go ahead and print out your stuff, grab whatever art materials you want to have with you, and then come on back. And I'm going to get started on mine and I'll show you some of the things that I'm going to put in it, okay? As you can see, I have been hard at work in my journal. Now, I'm not quite finished, but I thought I'd show you what I've done. And if you want to send me pictures of what you've done, I'd love to see them. So, I started out with some blue and purple, which I thought was kind of fun. And then it says, my name is Miss Lynn, right down here. I'd like to do a little more coloring on that. I'm just not there yet. Then, on the All About Me page, here are the things that I wrote. I wrote that my birthday is October 28th. I wrote, it said, when I grow up, I'm already grown up. But I said, when I grow up, I want to teach kids about Jesus. So I'm pretty lucky that I get to do something that I really love to do. I didn't do all of my favorite things, but my favorite animal is definitely a dolphin, and my favorite food is definitely cake. Then it says, I miss you. So in here I wrote, I miss all of the Hennepin kids, because even though we get to be together like this, I still miss seeing you guys. And then the people that are social distancing with me, and that's my family members. So my husband, John, and then my kids, Katie, Sean, and Becca, and then our dog, Abby. Sometime I hope you'll get to see Abby. We'll get her on camera sometime. Then this page I only did half of. But what I filled out down here is it says, what changes have you noticed in your house? I wonder what changes you've noticed in your house. What I wrote down is because we're all home and we're cooking all of our meals at home, it feels like we go through tons of food, and it also feels like our kitchen floor is dirty all the time. Ask your parents about that. I bet they're going to say the same thing. Then I filled out this page, and this page is all about our feelings. So it says, what are you most excited to do when it's all over? And I can't wait to go back to church and see all of my church friends, my little church friends and my bigger church friends. But it also asks, what am I grateful for now? And right now, I am very grateful that my whole family is together and that we have a safe place to be. It asks, what helps you when you are upset? What does help you when you are upset? There's lots of different things that you can do. What I wrote down that I do when I'm upset is I take our dog for a walk, because that seems to be helpful for me. The last page that I wanted to share with you is the page about celebrations. So again, I have it partially colored, but I have had so many birthdays that have happened in this couple of month period and a couple of graduations. So I put down Memorial Day because we talked about that earlier in our lesson, and we'll probably just grill out as a family. It says, how did you celebrate over here? But then my friend Ty graduated from college, so I drove over to his house and I got to wave at him. He was in his lawn and I was in my car, and I got to give him a thumbs up and tell him congratulations. You guys might remember baby Peter. Baby Peter is Miss Kelsey, our preschool teacher's son. And next week, he's going to turn 1 year old. And I bet they have some sort of a fun celebration for that. And then my friends Ella and Megan both had birthdays. And so Becca and I went to their houses and we made great chalk art in their driveway to surprise them. The other thing I have on here is my friend Jake. And my friend Jake is graduating from high school. But his family has decided that they're going to probably wait and do more of a celebration in December because he has another big milestone in December as well. So I wonder, what big celebrations have you had? Maybe even a birthday. I found it really fun to take some time to work on this journal, and I hope you guys do too. I have one more awesome surprise that I want to share with you. So if you'll just hang out for 1 second, I'm going to be back with a really cool Sunday school surprise. I'm back. Check this out, you guys. We have what I am calling a class pet. Actually, if you can see in here, we have a whole bunch of class pets. 2 jars of caterpillars. And this is what we're going to do. So, the next unit that we're going to have is about hope. And one of the things that I find to be super hopeful are butterflies. Because strange things happen with butterflies. They start out as these little caterpillars, and then they go into their own little cave that, by the way, they make themselves, which is pretty awesome. And then they come out as something totally different. And then there's this weird period of time where you don't really know what's going on at all before they become butterflies. So cool, right? Anyway, we are going to follow along with these caterpillars until they become butterflies. And I'm going to give you updates every single week. And here's the thing. If you as a family want to be the family that raises the caterpillars and takes pictures every week, and then we'll get you a camera so that you can do your own time-lapse video so that we can see the caterpillars come out of the cocoon. If you are the sciencey kind of family that thinks that would be really cool, you let me know, because like I said, we have 2 jars of caterpillars. And they can live here with me, and that's fine. But if somebody else wants to have a turn, I don't have to have all the fun. Okay? So, that is what I have for us today. We had storytelling that is so important, keeping all of our stories alive so that we keep our memories alive. And our new announcement of our class pets. Thanks for being here today, you guys. Let's close in prayer. Holy God, we are so blessed to have this time together. We are blessed for the people who have told stories long before we were alive, for the people in the Bible, for the people in our own lives. Help us to also learn the stories that you would have us learn and keep those stories alive so that we can continue to learn and to teach others about what you think is important. Thank you for our new class pets, and we are very excited to watch them grow into something beautiful and magnificent. In your name we pray. Amen. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.